Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and thank you so much for being here and following my journey, for your likes, your comments and for generally supporting me. It really does mean a lot to me. So the first few clips give you an idea of what this video is about. I'm really busy tidying, decluttering, and you'd be very impressed to see the numbers of bags and boxes I am getting rid of. I'm getting out of the house. So I'm really pleased. I'm revisiting a few areas again that I previously decluttered on previous videos where I realised that I can now get rid of quite a lot more. So I hope you've all had a good weekend. So our weekend started, we didn't get up that early on Saturday, but we did have to go into Norwich. A couple of things that we had to go and do in the city. It's my sister-in-law's birthday fairly soon, so we needed to pop into Pandora. We also needed to get some bits for my daughter for school, and my husband got a voucher for his birthday last year, and he's been into the shop about 4 or 5 times to get a board game that we all decided that we'd like. So he's gone in there a couple of times to order it, and each time has sort of been a little bit vague. Anyway, the last time we went in, the voucher had only got about 10 days left on it, and the young lady that works there ordered the game and said there was £8 left, which she'd organise as a credit note. Well, we've been waiting, and I said to my husband, look, we really need to go into the shop and pick this up, because this is like weeks ago. And so, as we were planning to do that Saturday morning, my husband saw on his phone that the place is shut down. So I'm really not sure what's going to happen. Hopefully they'll find another premises and they will continue their business, hopefully, and we'll get the game and we won't lose the money, because that's a great shame. I feel really bad for the people that have given the vouchers, spent their money, and then for that to happen. So that was disappointing. But we got the other things that we needed to do in the city. Came home, my daughter did a little bit of homework, and my husband did these delicious homemade pizzas. Really, they're like as good as the ones that you get in Italy. Where the home of the pizza is considered. They're really delicious. He did change ingredients very slightly with the mozzarella and went for a mozzarella that wasn't quite so good, but he went back to using the really good one. And they're really lovely. So that was nice. And then Sunday we got up early and we went to church. Now, I mentioned before, for those of you that are interested, I know not all of you are, but if you're curious or you are interested, in the community section of my channel, I've put the link for today's service. Or when you're listening, it'll be yesterday's service, because this will go out on Monday the 18th. I really enjoyed the service. It was some songs that are some of my favourites, so I really enjoyed the music. And then the person who came to speak and give the word was a man called Ken Costa. He's got South African roots, but he's been a banker, an investment banker in London for 50 years. He's still working at 74, and he's known internationally for some of the decisions that he's made. And for instance, he advised Al Fayed on the sale of Harrods and other assets. So he's been involved in some really high profile transactions. But also 50 years ago, he became a Christian. So it was really interesting to hear a number of different things he talked about. So if you're interested, the link is there. And I know some of you are, so you can have a little look when you get a chance. There were lots and lots of people there today. And we tried again to get tickets for the Christmas shows that they do. And I say tickets, there's no charge, they're all free. But there's around 10,000 tickets, and we tried a couple of weeks ago and we weren't successful. We tried on Saturday and we weren't successful. Honestly, these tickets are harder to get than Oasis tickets. But like they were saying today at church, what a great problem to have. What a great problem to have that they're so popular that they can't get the people in. I think it's 10,000 in total, 10,000. And of course, many people are saying, oh, well, can't you just put another show on? But of course, you can't do that, because where there's a lot of children involved in the performances and volunteers, You can't, that's not just the answer to say, oh, well, let's have another show. So you can see where I've revisited a whole number of areas that you've seen me sort out before. So for example, this little basket that's got like odds and ends and a few bits of makeup and little sets and so on, hair accessories. I've gone through it all before and I've taken everything out and put everything back and not really got rid of much. But this time there were things that could go in the bin. There were some things that me and my daughter don't want. So there was like a Minnie Mouse comb and different things like that. There was also like little sewing kits, which I thought, well, it makes sense for me to bring those downstairs and put with the sewing basket, putting like with like. Thank you for the thoughts. So I managed to get rid of quite a few more bits and pieces. There's also a little makeup bag there that has got a few makeup stains in it, which I've sent down to be washed. And then my husband's got a set for like nail clippers and stuff like that. That had somehow emptied out into the basket, so I put them all in the same place. So you see me sort that out and get rid of quite a few things. And then I move on to looking at the dreaded cupboards. Now, I say dreaded cupboards, actually there's so much stuff that I'm getting rid of. But again, what's really helping is putting all the similar things together. So I've got several containers now, which are all things that I want to sell. Now, I know you'd say to me, oh, give them to the charity shop. But some of the things are worth quite a lot of money, and I've particularly bought them because they are collectible. So whilst I do enjoy supporting various different charities, if I've bought items that I know are collectible and going to go up in money, it's a little bit like, you know, buying shares. And then rather than selling them at the high price, someone just saying, well, just give them away. So that's what I'm then focusing on. There's so many things that I've been sorting in this room, and the carpet's getting progressively worse. So you see where there's bits that I've then got on the carpet. I really need to clear the whole room out, and then I can go through do all the carpet, hoover up and dust properly again. It feels like not that long ago that I dusted. In reality, it's been far too long, I'd think. I felt the same when I pulled one of the chairs out, the chair that I've got in my dining room, my comfy chair, and you'll see that in this video. I pulled the chair out and it's like, oh my goodness, where are all these things? Where have they all come from? There's a hat that's been put behind the chair, and I said to my daughter, why on earth is Daddy's hat behind the chair? And she said, I didn't want him to wear it, so I hid it there, which I thought was quite funny. I've not yet told him about that, but I did find that quite amusing. But there was lots behind the chair, so you'll see that later. So I do understand why some people listening to this get overwhelmed with lots of stuff, because you can see this massive great pile before me that almost just makes you think, where on earth am I going to start? And that's why I did that live, but the live didn't work very well. I did make myself laugh because firstly, I thought that was going to show as landscape, and it wasn't. So you could only see me on the side. So I'm sorry about that. And then secondly, at the end, I couldn't turn the live off. It really, really made me laugh. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just couldn't turn it off. In the end, I had to like turn the phone off completely because I couldn't do it. So I'm getting 2 boxes here. So the box on the right, the yellow box, they're all things to sell. Then in a minute, you'll see me sort out another box, which is another box of things to sell. But what I was just doing there with the cupboard, there are some things that I know are definitely going back in the cupboard. So like all the things for our tents. So we've got our mattress, sleeping bags, other tent equipment. That's all going to go back into those cupboards. So I thought, well, trying to get myself space to work, I'll put those there. And then that will just give me a bit of space to actually move around all these things. There's quite a few things also that I don't really have emotional attachment to because I've bought them later. So that little brownie doll, so that was the sort of brownie uniform that I wore. So I'm guessing that doll must be from the 80s, I'd say, with a little brown bobble hat. Those of you that were brownie, you can correct me. I think it was before the man from Asda got involved in designing the uniform, so it's quite a traditional sort of dress. And I used to have a piece of string in my pocket, a plaster, a 20p coin, and a safety pin. I think they were all the things that I had to have in my pocket. So yeah, the dress has changed, but I'm going to sell that little doll because I think someone somewhere might like that. Then also in there, I've got that Victoria Plum doll that I mentioned the other day, and I've got some Planet of the Apes toys, which is no point keeping them because they're not on display. And then I also started sorting out some of the papers. I've got loads and loads and loads and loads of papers, so I decided just to put them all in one pile, and that I needed to focus on all of them another day. Now then, going into my mini study, I got papers that had fallen on the floor. So again, I wanted to clear the floor. So as I said before, it's my aim to put the suitcases away in this cupboard. That's what I want to do. Now we were short of suitcases for a while. And so when we went to Florida last year in America, we borrowed a case from my mother and father-in-law. And some of you might remember the story that we borrowed the case, and when we arrived in New York, the case was badly split, damaged, cracked. There was a wheel missing, all sorts. Goodness knows how, who, where that did the damage, but it happened at some point. And my husband and daughter were obviously very keen to get on with the holiday, as was I. But I insisted on queuing up and getting a report done. And I'm very, very pleased I did, because they made so much fuss in giving us a refund. And yet they had already told us to go and buy another suitcase for on the way back, and that they would pay it. But then they made loads and loads of fuss and tried not to pay it. But in the end, we had to dump that case that my mother and father-in-law had lent us, because that got to Philadelphia to Florida. But there's no way that would have survived from Florida back to London. No way. As it was, I was like dreading when we arrived and we flew in from Philadelphia to Florida. I was absolutely dreading, that whole thing. You think, oh no, like you see a case has been split, or you see like one sock going around on the conveyor belt and you're looking like, is that my sock? And then you dread the thought of like all your dirty underwear is going to come out on the conveyor belt. So I was dreading that case was going to split, but it did manage to survive. So that was good. But yeah, we managed to get the money back for that. And we obviously gave that case to my in-laws. So I can't quite work out how I've got 3 big cases, 2 smaller cases, and several travel bags. I don't know. So I don't think we'll get rid of one, but that might be a possibility, just to see which ones we've got. And if one's a bit ropey, that'll be the one that we could get rid of. So once I've actually got room to move, we can look at that. I was talking to my daughter about my China doll that I had from my mum and dad when I was a little girl. I had one and my sister had one, and I used to always think how beautiful my doll was with her lovely dress and her curly hair. So I was talking to my daughter about it. Quite a lot of TYs, so I got all my TY toy collection out. I was showing my daughter those. I've got 3 American bears. Now at some point I might look to sell some of those, but I can't sell everything at the same time. So I'm going to sell all my Coca-Cola toys, the spare Lego sets, and all the Planet of the Apes sets figures apart from one. So my advice, if you are the sort of person that gets a little bit overwhelmed with the amount you've got to do, is try not to look at the pile of things as a whole. Look at the individual things, and if each day you're trying to kind of keep on doing what you're doing and then sorting out another 5 things, another 5 things, or 5 things, or another 10 things, or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however you want to do it. But if you do it every single day, without doubt, you're going to chip away at that. And I think sometimes it's so easy to see it as a massive, great pile, or see it as a massive, great task. But if you break it down, it makes it so, so much easier. I used to always think about that when I had to write like assignments or essays or like my dissertations, that to think, oh my goodness, I've got to write 30,000 words on this subject is like, oh my goodness, where on earth am I going to start? On the first word. Where am I going to start? And I would often find it quite hard to start my essays. So in the end, what I used to do is I'd just write. I'd write and write and write and write and write. And then once you get into a flow, I'd then go back and I'd probably delete my first paragraph. So it's kind of that sort of chipping away at it. That's what I think. So you'll be pleased to know that at the moment, and I've not brought everything down, at the moment I've got 3 big bags sitting to go at the door for the charity shop. And I've got several boxes of things I'm going to sell that I am going to bring downstairs. So I'm going to take all the photographs now, but I'm not going to bring them down before the birthday that we're celebrating, because my father-in-law is going to be coming round and he will start saying, oh, when are you getting this? When are you getting a skip? When are you getting a skip to put all your house in? And so I'd rather just avoid any comments like that. So if the hallway is absolutely stacked full of things, he will start going around my house saying, why don't you get a skip and fill it? And that is not going to set me on the right, what's the word? I'm not going to feel calm related to that statement. And my objective is to feel calm for up and coming birthday celebrations. So I'm going to go through some of your comments now. Now, you have just amazed me, the amount of comments that you've added and likes and people going back onto old videos and commenting as well. So thank you very, very much. In the next couple of days, I'm going to let you know where we are in terms of how much money has been made on the channel for the advertising. I know it felt a bit sort of funny talking about money, but I think it's quite nice for you to know how much money's being donated and how much we've got so far, because we're nearly coming up to, well, about halfway through the month, aren't we? And I'd like to be able to donate £100 after taxes. So the first comment from today is from Mary Lee. Mary Lee 5711. Mary Lee's from Manchester. So I don't know whether, Mary Lee, you will have heard me say about how I worked in Manchester for a while. We moved up some financial products from Norfolk to Manchester, and I stayed in the De Vere White's Hotel at Horwich for quite a long time. Well, I mean months, not years. So I loved Manchester. I loved the Manchester nightlife and shopping. It was really good time. So I think about Manchester with great fondness. So Mary Lee says, hi Emma, I'm from Manchester and I've been watching your videos for a few months, but first time commenting. Thank you, Mary. You're making amazing progress and the storage cupboards in your attic room are massive. As Christmas is fast approaching, could you move all the Christmas stuff into the playroom temporarily until it is time to put the decorations up? Then move the suitcases into the seasonal cupboard, giving more space to store items. You will then have until early January to create enough space in the seasonal cupboard for the Christmas stuff to go back in. It's quite a good idea to move things around like that, really. And if I get the suitcases moved away, that will just mean that I can get around stuff. The problem that I have is that you've not seen the amount of Christmas things I have. Each year we sort of we get one extra thing, not a massive item. But we do get like a little Lego set that I get from my husband for Christmas or something. He's got like a little Lego village. And last year I got a little train that goes around the Christmas village. It's really lovely. We were talking about where it was going to go because it's too big to go on top of the piano. We can't really have it go round the table because then it will mean that we won't have space to eat at the table. So I was wondering whether it could go in my lounge above the picture rail. You know, somehow set it up on a big board and have it go around over our heads. But we were just talking about how that might work. But we have got quite a few big items that we have in the garden, and they are all in that cupboard. So usually we get everything out, we bring everything downstairs and we decorate. So what date are we on? I'm recording this on the 17th. So I will start getting all the decorations ready for, say, the end of November. So ideally we have everything up for the 1st. That's my plan. Now I think in different countries, different decorations go up at different times, don't they? So I aim for the 1st of December, and then I will take them down however many nights it is. So it's the 6th of January, is it usually? I have to work out how many nights it is. But I think it's very similar to other European countries. I think in Italy, they put up the decorations for the 6th of December and have them run all the way through to the 6th or 7th. So a similar sort of thing. So it's not going to be long before I get everything out. And the problem with the playroom is that at the moment you can't really get in there. I'm still trying to get rid of that rocking horse. Do you know, I think what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to give it away. I thought someone would really like that, but I think what happens, a lot of people just want everything new, don't they? I mean, when we had it, it was second hands, and my daughters loved going on that, and my nephews have gone on it as well. So thank you very much for your message, Mary, and very much appreciate you adding a comment, and thank you for following me for the last few months. Zoe Brindle says, keep going, Emma. You're doing an incredible job. Those cupboards are fabulous storage. Just keep in mind the fewer items you have, the more time you have. Sending love. And Zoe's always sent me some emoji flowers. Thank you. Bebop Os. So this is B from Australia. Now you may remember on a previous video, B told us all that she'd really hurt the nerves in her arm. She got a lot of pain and she could hardly use her arm. So I posted to say, oh, please do let us know how you're getting on. So B says, hello, lovely Emma. B from Australia here. Giving an update as requested. My nerve pain in my arm is improving, but very, very slowly. I'm sorry, B, that it's very, very slowly, but I am pleased that you are noticing improvements. That is the most important thing. But unfortunately, it is still very painful. And B says, patience truly is a virtue. Well, let's all hope that B's arm heals as quickly as possible. So B, I'm sending you hope of a quick recovery and a long-term recovery, so it doesn't kind of cause you problems in a few months. So B also says, Emma, you amaze me at how much you get done in a day. It's like you have a never-ending energy supply. It's just wonderful and so motivating. I'm trying to stay positive and making a decluttering plan for next year, hopefully when I can use both arms again. I have a whole house to declutter. Thinking I will start next year with the kitchen, then the bathroom and then the laundry, as I think it might be easier to start with the less sentimental items. Yeah, it's a good idea, B. In order to start some momentum. I have loads and loads of paperwork, thinking of leaving that till the very last. Good idea. Thank you for kind words and support. Sometimes it's all a person needs. Keep up the great work. Your videos are so comforting. What a lovely comment, B. Thank you very much for adding that. So what I kind of commented back was to say, I agree. So important just to focus on recovery. Don't worry about all this stuff that you've got in the house to sort for now. Good idea to make a plan and note down some things that, I would say for the rooms that you've listed, within those, write down key areas. So, for example, where you've put the kitchen and the bathroom, so write down the kitchen, then do a few bullet points under the kitchen, such as, I don't know, a particular cupboard or food storage. Note down like 4 areas in your kitchen and then 4 areas under the bathroom and then 4 areas for laundry. And then rather than just thinking, oh my goodness, I've got all of the kitchen to sort out, once you're better and your arm is fully healed, you could just focus on kitchen number 1 and then kitchen and number 2 and just do it gradually like that to set yourself a plan up. I've also said to B, I'm wondering whether you could use something like arnica to help with the healing. Arnica is very good, both, in a topical form, using it as a cream, but also using it as having one of the little tablets. So arnica is meant to be very, very good for muscle, for nerves, for just supporting the healing. So we hope you get better soon, B. Stacey says, happy, feel good and fabulous Friday and blessings. Thanks for sharing. This is Stacey from Virginia. Thank you, Stacey. Stacey sent me some lilies and she's waving and sent me lots of coloured little hearts and thumbs up. Thank you. Karen Davis. Oh, I love those rag dolls. So clever. The way their legs move. I hope your husband does fix the lights in your cupboard. It looks like it holds so much stuff and I'd love to see how big it is. Also, maybe he could rig it to where you could somehow signal for help if you get stuck in there. That did make me laugh. It's like a couple of people said about that. Yeah, you can get right in there. I mean, it'd be a great place if you were a child and playing hide and seek, wouldn't it? But there's a myth. There's a house in Norfolk. I'm sure it's in Norfolk or Suffolk, where a group of people for a wedding reception were playing hide and seek, and the bride went off and hid, and everybody searched for the rest of the day and couldn't find her. And obviously they started like panicking and they didn't find her the next day, and time went on and on and on. And they just believed that she just like left and just had like these massive regrets about getting married. Anyway, roll forward many, 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 many years and they opened up this very, very heavy chest that was up in the attic and she'd got stuck. Now, I don't know where that came from. I can't remember what house that was from. But then then people see her walking around the house. Oh dear, I feel a bit scared now. I wish I'd not told that story. Yeah, so I couldn't get, those cupboards couldn't shut on me. So that's the good news, okay? So it's not like a really, really heavy chest lid where once that's fallen down, that could get stuck from the inside. You couldn't get stuck in there. But they go quite deep and they go all the way back. And I'm so pleased I got those done because I don't have loads of storage in some parts of the house, but that is really, really good. And I can definitely remember in one of my videos, I couldn't quite remember what I'd done with storage, but I definitely have got it so that one side is all seasonal. So it's Christmas, there's Easter, there's Halloween, there's all things there. And then on the other side, I'm trying to get suitcases and stuff. But obviously there's going to be a lot less stuff. The other thing that I want to do also on the seasonal side, there's part right into the corner, there's a part that's not bordered, and I do feel like we can make a better use of that. So I'm looking at that this year. And Karen says, love your videos. Thank you very much for your lovely comment, Karen. Nan Holmes says hello from North Carolina. Thank you, Nan. Rainy Milliman says, yes, please show a video of the back area with the toilet and don't worry about it being horrific. Most of us have probably seen worse. I've been trying to picture this area for some time, trying to imagine the size and location and how it could be utilised better for your situation. So yes, please do video it. I've gone a couple of times to video it, Rainy, but I've forgotten all day until it's got dusk or it's got into the evening. And there's no point sending you a video of it when it's like nearly dark because I've got one light on the outside, but I haven't got a light inside the toilet area. So it'd be really, really dark. So I need to do that on a bright day. I'm sure there are others here that will have some excellent ideas to help you make it more useful. Also, when I was a kid, we still had to use the outhouse at my grandparents' farm. Plenty of dirt, leaves, cobwebs and unfortunately spiders, also the occasional mouse. Pizzelles are actually considered Italian waffle cookies. I think the Italian ones are vanilla flavoured, whereas I make mine with almond extract and sometimes with anise extract. The almond ones are the favourite. You need a pizzelle iron to make them, and once they are off the iron, you can roll them up while still warm if you choose. This is making me hungry. I leave them flat and dust them with a little powdered sugar. They are nice and crispy and not too sweet. I wish I could make banana bread for everybody. You sound like a very good cook, Rainey. And no, you don't need to make banana bread for everybody. You only need to make banana bread for me. Thank you. I used to put flaxseed in it and wheat germ, but I can't have flaxseed anymore, so I stick with the standard type of recipe. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Really interesting. Next comment, Kate West says those Trolls and My Little Pony and Care Bear figures are so nostalgic. Sarah Louise says, oh my goodness, was that a bag of your old toys? I had a Care Bear, I had a Sunshine Bear, and do you remember Ella Roo and Puffalump? I also had a Starbright, Teddy Ruxpin and Count Duckula. I'm 42, I think we're of similar age. Do you remember these toys? Now, I've read this out several times, once to my daughter, once to my husband. Now I'm getting bothered that I might have already read it out to all of you. I don't think I did. But when I read that post, I was like quite excited because, yes, I do remember a number of those toys. I really, really wanted a Puffalump, but I never had one. I thought they looked just so lovely. But some in the bag that you saw were mine that I had as a child, and some I bought as an adult because I loved them so much. I also said about Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake. For my 40th birthday cake, I had my husband organised for me to have a Rainbow Bright birthday cake. It was fantastic. It was a chocolate cake. It was absolutely covered with chocolate and covered with chocolate brownies and covered with Rainbow Bright dolls. What was there not to absolutely adore? If I can find a photograph, I will share a photograph with you. I love Rainbow Bright. When I worked in the financial sector, I used to have a little Rainbow Bright doll that sat on my desk. So you're never too old for Rainbow Bright. That's my view. So I did spend a lot of time upstairs, and then it was time to finish. And I'm now doing downstairs. Now, one thing I would mention, please don't think that all my videos, everything is done in that one day. So sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. So like this video, part of all the stuff with the cupboard, I did when my daughter was asleep Saturday evening. So she went to bed and I went upstairs and did a load. And then this part of the video is while my daughter's doing her homework, and she still likes me to be in the room with her. So rather than doing the washing up, I came in here to sort the washing. So while I'm doing the washing, I can talk to her about what she's doing and discuss her homework. So, you know, please don't think that, oh my goodness, look what Emma manages to do in one day, because sometimes it might be over the course of a couple of days or several days. That green jumper that you'll see on the screen in a bit, that was a really nice fit when I first got that, but every time I wash that jumper, it seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think soon it's going to be the size where my husband's going to be able to wear it, only he doesn't like wearing jumpers, so not quite sure what will happen there. So a lot of my washing now has been dried, so part of the reason why I had so much for my last couple of videos is because I didn't do any washing 1 week. I'd had a lot. I think it's because I'd had loads of washing when we got back from London and half term. So I had loads sitting around and I just got fed up with seeing it. But really, in order to maintain my washing and make sure I've only got a minimal amount hanging around, I need to do 2 loads every week. Is that about the same for the rest of you? For those of you, I mean, obviously some of you, there's one person or there's 2 people. So there's the 3 of us, and I find that I need to do 2 loads, and then every probably 3 weeks I do a white load. So that'll be 1 week. So most weeks 2, and then 1 week 3, because one of the loads will be a whitewash. So it was Brooke Howe that made me think about moving this chair, because Brooke said, I'd like you to pull out the sofas at some point and really clean under them and see what's all under there. And so she made me think about that when I was sort of sorting things out here. I'd noticed that when I put my washing here on this seat, a couple of items had fallen down the side. So I thought, I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull all that out, because my daughter's doing her homework, and there wasn't that much to do in this room. So I thought I'll pull the chair out and see what else is behind there. There were about 6 socks, and a top had fallen down the side from the pile of washing. There are some things that do need to go back, so I know some of you might pull your hair out when you see me put some things back. But what I did here, you'll see there's a lot of dust behind here. And as my daughter's in the room, I really did not want to use a dry duster because it will all got into the air. So I used one of my handmade cotton cloths, which are fantastic for this sort of thing, because they could pick up any bits, dust. Because they've got the gaps in them, you can pick things up really, really well, all tiny little bits you pick up with these cloths. And then I just went into the kitchen, washed the cloth through with warm water and use it to wipe all around again. Use it to wipe over the cardboard, over the cloth, all sorts. And when you've then finished with it, you can just put my cloth straight in the washing machine, which is exactly what I do. So whilst I was here, I got distracted. You know how sometimes I do. And found a little sheet that I'd done when I was probably about 5 or 6 that got my name on. And it was riddles. And it's things like, I live in the sea and you can eat me, and begin with F. So that was all. They're all quite simple, but some of them are quite funny. Like, I sometimes fall. I'm in someone's mouth and I use them to bite. Because when you first think that they sometimes fall out, you wouldn't necessarily think about teeth, would you? So I was reading them through to my daughter. So that was a moment of me getting distracted. Do you sometimes get distracted when you're tidying up, or are you very efficient and very organised? I do often get distracted. So once I went through that went into the recycling bin, and I had a look at some of the other things. So there was a bag where my mother-in-law had got me some things from her holiday, and she'd collected the things from the hotel. I think it's because she knows that I used to like collecting all the things from the hotel, so she decided to collect them for me, which is very thoughtful of her. But obviously the fun that I had was going around the hotel each day and collecting the bits from my hotel. But what I thought I'm going to do with those, so tell me if you think this is a good idea. A number of you have said with like little shampoos and little moisturisers, how you can give them to a women's charity. And I thought that was a good idea. But I thought, I know, we do a pass the parcel for Girl Guides. And one year we did layers of sweets, and last year we didn't do anything on the layers at all. And I thought, why don't we do a little shampoo on one layer, or a little, a little soap on each layer in between the sweets? So you might get shampoo or a little conditioner. I thought the girls might like that, so I'm going to suggest that to the other leader. So there was a few times I went backwards and forwards to the kitchen because the dust really was quite bad. And then I came through as well and just sprayed it with cleaner and wiped it all round. There was a few bits to go in the bin and a few bits to go in recycling, which I was pleased about. And then after I then cleaned it, I then started going through some of the boxes and some of the tins. Now the biggest tin that you saw there, which was the tin which said something about, I think is the Queen Coronation tin, the British looking tin, that is full of my seeds, all my different plant seeds. Now I know some people would think that is not the place for them, Emma, underneath the chair in the dining room. And I do agree, but where is the right place for them? Because I can't put them in the greenhouse, I can't put them in the shed, I can't put them in the outhouse. So where is the right place for the seeds? So therefore, not knowing where the right place is, they did go back. So please don't despair when you see me sliding them back underneath the chair. The other thing that went under the chair was my flower press. Now my flower press, I think, should go in my cupboard in the front room. So that's where I think it should go. And the only reason really I say that is because that was where my flower press was when I lived at home. And my mum's got similar cupboards That was where I went for my flower press. I'm sure it was. How strange that I should remember that. Of all the things where I remember putting things away or not putting things away, that I should remember where I put the flower press in my mum's house. Strange. So where you just now saw me move the curtain around, that was because as I moved the curtain, a lump of like potato fell out, dried potato. So I was showing it to my daughter and saying, where has this come from? Because there was an occasion before where something that she didn't want to eat, I think it was a piece of broccoli, she'd hidden. That makes me laugh thinking about it. I wasn't laughing at the time when I found it. Piece of that had completely gone really dry, piece of broccoli that she didn't want to eat. She'd hidden it under like one of the table leg bits. You couldn't quite see it. And I found it later, but she said no, that the piece of potato wasn't her. So maybe it was when we had people round for bonfire night, maybe someone just dropped it on the floor by mistake. So you can see I do really make a good sort of level of improvement. And then I've also done a little clip of the video where you can see things a little bit more zoomed in, so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I managed to get this whole area sorted out quite quickly, to be honest. And all the small things were just easy to put in the bin or recycling. And then after, when I put the chair back, I think there were about 3 things that I then just tucked underneath the chair. Unless you've got any sort of other good ideas as to where I can put my seeds and my flower press. So I'm getting towards the end of my video now, so if you're still here, which I guess you must be if you're listening to this, thank you so much for watching my video this far. Very much appreciate your support. I just wondered whether any of you spotted the Father Christmas cookie. So the Father Christmas cookie was just to the side of the chair, which is a bit scary because that's not an early Father Christmas, that's a late Father Christmas that slipped down the side and sat there for most of the year. It wasn't a cookie that I had any plans on eating, and I certainly wouldn't want my husband to eat it, and my daughter can't eat it because of the allergens. Then you can see me just going over the bottom of the chair. So again, there was lots of dust on the bottom of the chair, and I was cleaning, getting all the dust off the little ends of the feet of the chair and the base. So it's about time for my Christmas stroke winter tip. So I've gone through quite a few different things. Most of my last videos for this month, I've tried to share with you a tip for Christmas or for the winter to get more organised and more prepared. And actually, do you know, by me talking about this, I feel much more organised and prepared. So like, for example, I make an advent calendar for my daughter. It was really lovely. My daughter was about 1 or 2, maybe 2. My sister had made this cloth advent calendar that hangs on the picture rail, and it's got her name on it, made in felt, and you can put something in each number. And my sister filled it and brought it round. That was just such a lovely thing, because at that point there were no free-from advent calendars that she could have. It was such a kind thing to do. So we get that every year and I fill it. So even though it's, the beginning of November, I'm getting all different bits and pieces from the supermarket. So my top tip is, we are weeks away from Christmas. You've all still got a lot of time. So depending upon your situation, I know some of you don't have loads of family and don't buy for loads of people anymore. But for the people that you do buy for, that you have to get organised for, if you do anything like that with either an advent calendar or anything that you sometimes feel like, oh, that was a bit of a rush, and that sort of everything sort of crept up on you, and suddenly that was like the middle of December and you've got no time, that is what I recommend. So I'm going to be buying bits and pieces for the advent calendar. Well, I've already bought some. So I'm going to keep on doing that, rather than what I normally do as I get to about the end of November, so maybe like the 26th or 27th of November, and I suddenly think, oh my goodness, I need to have done the advent calendar. So what I normally do is I'll have 10 days sorted out, and then I sort out the rest as time goes along. But I do all sorts for that. I do hunts around the house. And once I started doing that, now my daughter loves doing that so much. She thinks that's going to happen every single year. And the hunts take quite a long time. And what I mean by that is there's a little piece of paper, say under number 2, in the little pocket of number 2, and that says, search where mummy might put flowers. So she then hunts around the house and looks for, a vase. So she finds a vase, and then under the vase is another bit of paper which says, look for where you keep your shoes. And then she goes to the shoe cupboard and there's another little clue. And sometimes part of the way through the month of December, I forget some of where things are. And, if you move the shoe or you move the vase, you've got a bit of a problem. But anyway, she loves that. So I'll be able to get that done early. So my top tip is any things that you feel like time creeps up and suddenly you haven't done something that you wanted to do, start thinking about that now. So did you see in the video me looking at my lovely Steiff bears? My lovely Steiff bears, and that one, I bought a couple of them fairly recently. When I say recently, I'd say in the last few years. But the big brown one, I thought, I could sell that. And then my daughter said, that bear is really lovely. And she's right, he is really lovely and he's really collectible. And I know we've talked before about Steiff. Those of you that are in Europe, you're probably familiar with Steiff teddy bears. And certainly I've got followers across Germany now. And so that's the home of the teddy bear, the original teddy bear. So we've been to that museum several times now. We love that museum. And me and my daughter have been members for a number of years. So you'll see me here just making sure that I'm not putting wet feet onto my wooden floor and damaging them. I realise they are still a little bit damp, so I just tucked a little bit of paper under the feet. So as we now approach the end of my video, I hope you all have had a good weekend. I hope you've had a good Monday. I wish you all the best for the rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!